My family sold me, forced me to marry this man. I was in total bondage, nowhere to go, and on top of that with the language barrier.
As a 15-year-old, I was forced into defending myself. I always thought about my little brother, and you got to make sure he eat and make sure he's not homeless. So you're going to do whatever you need to do. People are not out there because they want to be out there. They're out there because that's their only means of survival.
Often, it's easy to forget America's dark history of slavery in the 1800s. It's easier to just ignore that people were once property without human value. But we must recognize that slavery still exists today.
Houston is one of the major hubs of human trafficking in America. There are organizations that raise awareness about this injustice and provide shelter for victims. However, there has not been a publicly accessible safe space for victims to go while in their situation.
This is why we saw the need for a drop-in center, a place where people in need can come as they please for services and resources. It's not a shelter, but rather a daytime space for respite and encouragement. The Landings Drop-In Center was created for two reasons. First, to create a non-judgmental, non-threatening space for victims of human trafficking to receive services while they cope with their situation.
And second, to increase victim identification in Houston. Out of the estimated 20.9 million victims worldwide, less than 1% are identified. Many of those who have been exploited do not see themselves as victims. It is only after building trust that they realize their victimization.
We knew it was important to be strategic in how we formed. We surrounded ourselves with an intelligent and diverse advisory council and visited similar centers around the United States. After much prayer and preparation, the Landing was opened on January 11, 2016, National Human Trafficking Awareness Day. The process has been beautiful and truly built out by God, the greatest architect.
Many of these victims are in their situation because of issues such as broken families, economic hardships, or manipulation. Some of us think we would run away in this situation, but it is hard to predict our reactions unless we have experienced it. We cannot judge someone whose mom taught her how to work in the sex industry at age 15 and is considered a victim. But once she turns 18, she's just considered to be just a prostitute who doesn't deserve help in the eyes of society. We also cannot judge someone who is trapped in domestic servitude and doesn't know how to escape. It is time to walk alongside people who are honestly just as vulnerable as us. We all have habits we cannot break easily. The stages of change show the process of breaking cycles. There's the pre-contemplation, contemplation, decision, and action stage. From the action stage, we either relapse and go back to an earlier stage, or we maintain our change and exit the cycle. This is how we all operate. So where do victims who are caught in the cycle turn to? Do they know there are resources available for them and people willing to listen?
No matter where the survivors are, we will meet them on their journey. Our services include counseling, mentorship, food, job help, clothing, and a place to rest, and referrals. One of the great characteristics of the Landing is how collaborative we are. We have over 30 partners, including shield bearers, who provide counseling, SEAL Security, who teaches our volunteers self-defense and accompanies us on street outreach, and United Against Human Trafficking, who supplements our human trafficking training for our volunteers. We also teach a survivor-created curriculum called Ending the Game to girls in our program through the District Attorney's Office. Through our services and collaborative efforts, we have already seen lives changed.
There are different types of bondage. Most of the victims we see at the drop-in center have a very limited amount of physical freedom. Their traffickers have manipulated them and threatened them, their families, and friends. Because of this, we get the word out about our services in various ways. We do street outreach 2 times per month, which involves small teams walking on the streets around Bissonnette to hand out gifts and information about the landing.
As law enforcement, we know that our main goal is to deter crime, and we recognize that when we arrest individuals, some of the prostitutes that we are arresting are actually victims. So it's important to identify them as victims and then treat them as such. And so because of this, it's so important that we, the Vice Division, work closely with victim services providers like the Landing. So whenever we, Vice Division, go and do undercover operations in the Southwest region, we invite the Landing to come with us so that they can talk to the arrested girls, give them water, food, sweatpants, sweatshirts, but mainly they're going to give the women information about victim services agencies and provisions that are available to them. This is the way that the Landing builds that trusting relationship with these women. When they finally do get out of jail, at least they have somebody to turn to that they already have that trusting relationship with.
We continue to educate ourselves through conferences, trainings, and research. We have served over 40 survivors through the drop-in center and reached over 130 through street outreaches and operations with law enforcement. We look forward to growing the Landing as more survivors utilize our services. Our goals for this next year include staying open 5 days a week, increasing our job skills programming, and expanding our outreach efforts. Micah 6:8 asks us to act justly, love mercy, and walk humbly with our God. And this is how we will continue to grow our mission at the Landing.
In order for the Landing to be sustainable, we have launched the Deep Roots campaign, which is about bringing together hopeful people to be our roots in building the financial foundation of the Landing. At our 1-year mark, this is an exciting time to give. We are looking for a consistent group of givers who can contribute monthly, whether that's $15 or even $1,000. This will cover food, counseling, rent, programming costs, services for the victims, and so much more.
We want to assure you that we will honor your giving by being financially responsible by using your money towards fulfilling our mission. We will always be transparent and welcome one-on-one meetings. Will you prayerfully consider becoming a solid root to our growing tree today?
There was a need here and it wasn't being filled.
There are so many women falling through the cracks.
There are people that need to know that they have value.
And give them hope, compassion, and dignity.
To serve Him foremost and then just to serve others.
We as the church are called to be the hands and feet of Jesus.
For justice and freedom.
The idea that I just had a moment in time to say, you're worthy, you're loved, you're beautiful, and God cherishes you.
To have a place like that to go to, it's very encouraging because God has not abandoned you. God loves you and would even put it on other people's heart to care for you and to give you a hand when you need it the most.
You were always wondering, is there a light at the end of the tunnel? But now I've already passed that tunnel and I've seen the light.
It's good to have, I kind of secret named it the Landing. If somebody just have that one direct spot that they can go to and they can land their feet at, it could make a lifetime change for them.